What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Mind If I Crash podcast. We were absent last week. Something came up last minute with Tommy, but we are back. And guys, today we're going to be talking about all kinds of things. But before we get into the episode, quick message from our sponsor, Life Widgets. Guys, it's so easy to get lost in the world of social media, strolling from apps to apps, using each one for its specific strong suits. If you guys are anything like me, you probably get tired of doing this, constantly closing out of one and going to the next. With Life Widgets, it's my one-stop shop for all my apps, groups, pictures, posts, everything. I can even find bars with demographics so I can find people of my age that share common interests. All I do is log in, let it connect to my location, and it's going to show me places that it's going to be a best fit for me. I can link my credit card, debit card, and not even have to pay. Just use the touch of a button, guys. Life Widgets, download it in the App Store. We are doing a cash giveaway to 3 lucky winners right now. $250 for first place, $150 for second, and $100 for third. So all you got to do is download that app on the Apple and Android app stores and add me as your first friend, guys. Getting into today's episode, I've got an awesome guest, someone who, we've been working on this for a little while now. This is the all-seeing eye. I mean, this kid has seen everything, and from the young age, he's always been playing Smash Mouth football, taking it from Pop Warner days, young days, all the way into his college career, guys. We're gonna be talking about it all today. My guest, Mr. Cam Haslage.
How's it going, man?
How are you, man?
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. No, I'm glad we finally got this to happen. We got a lot to talk about, dude.
Definitely.
So I want to just dive right into it. First off, what brought you to football originally? Because for anyone that doesn't know, Cam is the youngest sibling, but he's also the only boy in the family. Mm-hmm. So what originally took you to football?
Really just watching it on TV, seeing pro football, college football. I just, started watching that, and my parents always, put me into sports at a young age. All my whole family.
Stay busy, right?
We're all busy, all athletes, It just, something about football, though, at first when I was really young, Pop Warner years, middle school years, it was just fun, get out there, go hit some kids, you know what it is. But then when I started getting to junior high, that's when football started getting a little bit more serious for me. I started gaining a love for the sport, not just, going out there playing football with my friends. It was more like, let's get better at this and let's see what we can do with it,
As a unit.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole team camaraderie and, just hitting people and getting away with it, not being able to, I'm not getting in trouble. I can go hit someone as hard as I can, and there's no consequences. That's awesome.
Is there a part of you, because it registered with me at a young age when our coaches, and pretty much any division, your coaches would always tell you, guys, this is the only place in the world you can hit someone and not get in trouble for it. It registered at a young age, he is right, though. I could fucking smash someone right now.
Oh, yeah. I remember one of the first times I heard that, I was like, damn, he's spitting some real shit.
He's spitting fire right now.
Yeah, man, I can actually do this, and nobody's gonna tell me no.
It's a beautiful fucking thing. So let's take it right back to the beginning. You get in. Back in those days, it was almost like you're playing a fucking video game.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes so natural, so easy, especially for big boys like us, because we already have an advantage on a field of people who don't know what's going on. So all it takes is a little bit of skill, some muscle, and the proper knowledge of the game.
Yeah.
And you've just unlocked every cheat code. I mean, you could be a quarterback if you wanted, not going down.
Yeah.
So what positions were you playing when you first started?
Center and D-line.
Now, what did you gravitate to more?
D-line.
At that time?
Well, and when I was younger, it was definitely center. My youth coach, Tyrone, he was all big about finding a good center. And
important position.
Yeah, exactly. And the one day, I remember we were in 5th grade or whatever it was, I'm playing on this youth Amherst team, and he's like, Cam, come snap or whatever. And then I get 3 good snaps, and our quarterback's like, I want his snaps.
Oh, shit.
So then, ever since then, after practice, my coach had me snap 50 balls every practice.
At the end of every practice?
At the end of every practice,
Ooh,
50
boy.
balls. That was my toll to get out of practice. 50 balls from middle school all the way up until about freshman year of high school. I played center mostly. And then I'd say all throughout middle school was always center. O-line, sometimes guard here or there, put me in for a pool play.
Right,
you know,
which
stuff
is a
like
fun
that.
fucking play to run.
Oh yeah, just full speed going right after somebody.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know the O-line, because here's the thing, and this is another thing that we learned playing Amherst football, we're never the ones that make it in the newspaper, you know, but we are the ones that push the ball down the field. And if you get to run a pool play, I mean, you're essentially, guys, just to put it in like layman's terms, you're coming from one side of the line and doing a dead sprint horizontally of the line of scrimmage to crack the dude at the end. Usually, a defensive end, a blitzing back, something like that.
Free kill shot.
Crack a fucking head, dude. Tomahawk someone.
Oh, yeah.
So you definitely played a very important role and had to build a good rapport with your quarterback.
Yeah.
Who was your quarterback back then?
Back then, it was Johnny, actually, for a little bit.
Damn, dude. Johnny's been he's that
quarterback he was the quarterback kid, yeah.
Okay.
So, when I was playing for Tyrone for a little bit in like 5th and 6th grade, we had Darren, who actually ended up going to Ashland to play football, but he switched to defense too. And he was a really good quarterback for us in youth. And then once I started getting to 7th, 8th grade, it was between Jeremy and Johnny. And then high school, it was always Johnny.
Right.
So that, me and Johnny are best friends. You know, I grew up with him. And that bond between the center and their quarterback,
it's unbreakable.
It was literally unbreakable. I mean, I literally saw him this past week. I talked to him every single day. You know, we're always catching up, always, seeing how each other are. And, that was the thing is, John and I had that connection where it didn't matter. We were always on the same page. And, we're talking on the field. What are you seeing? What am I seeing? Blah, blah, blah. We were always able to communicate, and just feed off of each other. Which
is so important. I mean, when you guys, I guess, have to break down probably the two generals of the field on offense, at least, it's really your center, keeping your line in check, maybe a left tackle, depends on really the dynamics of the team, but your center and your quarterback. I mean, those are the field generals for their group of guys. And just constantly pushing that, having that chemistry. I mean, you guys changed the pace of Amherst football.
Yeah, you could say
for
that.
A shitty 5 years. We could say it.
Yeah.
As someone who played on the downfall of Amherst football, I can 100% say you guys definitely picked things up quite a bit. So you get into junior high, you realize you're starting to take things serious, right? Yeah. Are you playing any defense at that point?
A little bit here and there, not so much though. I was center, started every game 7th and 8th grade as a center, but I noticed, I remember it very vividly. There was actually this one time in 7th grade where I was, we had defensive practice or whatever, and I was like, man, this is boring. D-line's boring. These every single day drills are just repetitive. I'm doing it over and over, and I was like, man, I'm going to try to play linebacker. And then the one coach was like, man, why are you going to try to play linebacker? You are not fast enough to play linebacker.
He said, you are not that guy.
Yeah. And I was like, man, let me try it. And then next thing you know, I go out there, horrible linebacker, whatever. Our D-line goes right through the line and kills the 8th grade running back. I mean, just kills him. And I was like, I need to be doing that. Let me play D-line now.
That's a beautiful thing.
Exactly. So I said, coach, let me play nose. And he's like, you're a center. We don't need you playing defense, blah, blah, blah. All right, whatever. So then move on to, that went on again in 8th grade, pretty much the same thing. I started getting a little bit more time in defense because I was
dabbling with it. Right.
I was on my coach's ass about it. I was like, let me play defense. You
have to, though. Yeah. Especially when you play a key role, you really have to ride them.
Yeah. So come freshman year, there was a time where you remember when Logan would force me to go to the varsity lifts when I was in 8th grade. And I'd show up every single day after 8th grade. I'd walk from the junior high, walk to the high school, go into the weight room, and I'm just this young-ass kid just lifting kind of in my own little corner. I'd do my own rack, do my own weights, whatever. Obviously I'm not lifting with the varsity guys yet, but there's some
grown-ass men at that point.
Exactly. Right? Got guys like Matt Hess lifting the whole house, like it was nothing.
Big dads,
and I'm looking, and I'm just like, man, I can't lift that, but whatever. And I remember, who was the head coach at the time?
Probably DeFranco came up to me one time. He's like, you're gonna be a sophomore, right? And I was like, no, coach, I'm only in 8th grade. And he was like, sick with it.
Oh yeah, he was like, 8th grade, what? He's like, well, still keep coming to the lifts, keep coming. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then it was freshman year. I guess there was a little buzz around my name because Lowry came up to me when he was the freshman coach.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing too.
Yeah, and there was a little buzz. He came up. He's like, "I heard you're a good center," and I'm like, "Well, and I don't know who said this, but yeah, sure, whatever." He's like, "All right, well, you're gonna be our number one center then, and we'll see how it goes." Camp comes around. I could not snap. I don't know what it was. I lost it.
My dude threw that shit. That's what he said. He said, "I am playing center this year, y'all."
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I was like it just, there was something that, like, maybe I caught a bug or something, but I could not snap to save my life. It was so funny. Everyone's like,
"Yeah, that is fucking wild."
Yeah, they're like, "You've been playing center your entire youth life, and then now, like, you get to high school, you can't snap a ball," and I'm like, I don't know.
Which should be kind of second nature to you at that point.
So my coach was like, let's try you out on defense. We go out and scrimmage shaker, and I just had like an all-star game. Like that, it was just a scrimmage, whatever. But
smashing shit, though.
Just went off. I mean, 2 sacks, whatever it was, TFLs. I'm all over the field. I'm like, and then like at that age, I was at the point where other freshman linemen, they're still in their pudgy stage. They're not really lifting.
You still have those cheat codes.
Yes, and going to those varsity lifts as a youngin' and coming in as a freshman, I would go varsity lifts at 6 a.m. and then we'd have the freshman lifts. We'd lift separate. I'd go to those freshman lifts too.
I forgot about that.
I used to double up sometimes in the mornings, and I remember Richardson. He'd come up to me. He'd be like, "It's good that you want to work hard, but be careful and all this stuff." People are in my ear about you're gonna stunt your growth, this and that. And I was like, I just want to get strong.
And that's when you have a buzz around you. You kind of take the good with the bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to kind of tilt my hat to you because, bro, I really forgot. You would be in the gym all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, even at home, you guys had a home gym. You'd still be getting it.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and for anyone that is listening to this with the athlete mindset, you guys know, like, that is the biggest thing. The time that you put into the gym shows on the field, on the diamond, whatever it is, on the court. How much time you put in on the gym is going to be a direct reflection of how you perform on Friday nights, Saturday mornings, Sundays, whatever it may be. And to learn that so young, or to have a mentor that's just like, no, this is what the fuck you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's how Logan was in many ways, is I don't care if you want to do it, get in the fucking car, we're going to do it.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times he would show up at 5:30 in my driveway honking. Get your ass up, get out. He's calling my phone. I'm in 8th grade. I'm like, man, I do not want to go lift right now.
Right, we do not care.
Yeah, I do not have to do this. And he's like, I don't care. You got to come. I'm like, all right. So then, I go and get my lift in, whatever. But, it put that in my head early on,
Train
I just
hard.
got used to it, It just became second nature, like, I have to lift. It's not even fun anymore. It's just, look, we got to do it, so let's go do it. And, that's where it came in, going into freshman year. I was like, I've been going to the varsity lifts for a year and a half now. I'm not going to stop going to the varsity just because I'm a freshman. Yeah, I was lifting with half the varsity guys at that time too.
Mm-hmm.
I was my strength just like that. I mean, I was just getting I was getting strong fast.
Dude, you were stronger than me. I know that to be a goddamn fact.
And yeah, it was just one of those things where, like, I started so early. I excelled so quick with the lifting, and so yeah, freshman year I played. It was just all going back to this. I realized that all this power I got, it was putting me at advantage against other, linemen at my age,
Right.
Because freshman ball, it's, it's a bunch of kids, still kind of growing in, still in that sprouting phase, but I was already, ahead of the game,
You potentially, maybe even able to qualify for JV or interact and switching roles out on varsity, which is crazy as a freshman. That's a crazy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that your freshman year was a critical part of your career overall, though? Like, was there any major takeaways from that year where you said, yeah? I mean, other than, obviously, you kind of made your transition to defense. Anything you took away from that year, you said, yeah, like, that really, really helped kind of shape the trajectory of my athletic career?
I think, literally, just that transition to defense alone was the biggest thing, because I was always, taught as a young age, offense. But then I switched to defense, and it's not so much, remember the plays, remember how to read a defense, see where the linebacker's coming. Now, going into defense, it's a little bit more, all right, your assignment, stay in this gap, watch the other gap if you have to, learn a pass rush move, learn a run block move, whatever you have to do. But at the end of the day, go get the ball.
Go get that shit.
Find who's got the ball and go hit their ass. So that was the best thing to me. It was like kind of removing some of those responsibilities and just kind of going out there and just playing. It just had it kind of gave me that mindset of just like, you can drop some responsibility. You can forget about some things, but just go hard and you'll get that play.
Right.
So as a freshman year, it taught me if you just keep on going and going and going,
smash mouth.
Yeah, just keep on smashing. Every single play I'm lining up and I'm hitting that center as hard as I possibly can.
Which just has to fucking suck for him. He's probably like, dude, I'm done.
Yeah. There was, plenty of times. So going into like sophomore year, I remember, Edwards was the D-line coach.
Good coach. Great coach.
He helped me a ton.
So much knowledge.
So much.
He could be collegiate level.
Oh, yeah. I used to tell him that all the time. I said, you should follow me to college. And he's like, it's just not for me. College football isn't his coaching style, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But that man has taught me so much. And I credit a lot of my success to him because he was the one where, all right, we got this foundation of, I'm getting stronger, keep on working on that, obviously, get faster, but now let's learn football, Let's learn how to read an offense. Let's learn what cues can we pick up so I know what kind of play to expect,
Like their lingo and stuff?
Oh, yeah. We were picking up, we were watching film, and I remember sophomore year, he would have me, I aided for him during
smart
school.
Move.
Yeah.
Very smart.
So in my study hall, I would sit in his room, for 2 hours, whatever it was at a time, and we'd either just watch film, talk X's and O's, whatever it is, and then sometimes he'd let me go lift. So I'd show up in the morning.
Working.
Yep, I'd be going to class, whatever. Halfway through the day, he's like, "You want to go to the lift in?" Yeah, sure. So we'll go get a quick half-hour lift in. Head out, go about our day, go to practice. And that's that. But it was just something simple to get the extra work in.
And that's one-on-one time with your coach.
Yeah.
You can't fucking pay for that, dude.
No.
That's money right there. So that's a very interesting thing that I didn't really think of either. Is one, you're kind of picking up a whole other thing of learning how to study film, which I think in that way, to be a true student of the sport, that's what it takes to go on to the next levels of the sport. But you do have that knowledge always in the back of your mind of growing up as a center. You have to know kind of, at least just with your line, what you don't want to see on the offensive side of the ball, so you're like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Assuming we all have, our things, but that's very fucking cool.
There's speaking of, what you don't want to see as a center, was I remember telling Edwards, I was like, man, what the hardest thing for me as a center used to be was when the D-line shifts. I was like, I can never pick that up. So I was like, why don't we start shifting now, right? So my sophomore, all 3 years actually, we ran mostly a three-man front, and I would play nose. So when I was playing nose, he had me just bounce around. I would switch it up just randomly.
At free will?
At free will. He would just he would tell me,
Right.
sometimes he'd be like, don't, we called it stemming, don't stem, don't stem, stay still. So, I'd stay head up or whatever. But then it started getting to the point where we started making plays over it. We'd be like, all right, tilt. So I would tilt. Literally, I would line up.
With just you moving?
Just me moving.
Oh,
I would literally line up at a 45-degree angle, aimed at the center's neck. And he'd be like, now just bull rush him right there.
He's got the center has to be shook.
Yeah, you got a center with his right hand on the ball, and I'm on his right side.
And he's just
how is he going to reach over here with the left? I would just, my face mask in his neck all night long, just chopping him away. And then it came to the point where, okay, so now I got that down for run block. I'll just bully him real quick, get off, boom, there's a play. Well, then, pass rush move, I'm just swimming him right through. I'm already halfway in. My hips are already turned. I don't got to go head up, then turn, then swim. It was just, I'm already in the swim position.
And letting that quarterback pay the fucking price.
Exactly.
Now, tell me this, because here's the thing. And I don't think that the everyday person doesn't really realize the endurance, the stamina that it takes to run a full game, let alone a series on defense.
Man.
And I didn't realize it until I kind of was in a similar situation with you as a left tackle. You think you're the Odell Beckham of the offensive line. You think you're this big shit. So I started, getting into it with the defensive end. And my coach at that time, I had Engel on offensive line, huge for me and in my life. And then we had Caesar on defensive line. And talk about just smash mouth put into a person,
Yeah.
that's Caesar.
Oh yeah.
So he was like, all right, Taliano, get your fucking ass over here and show me what you can do. And I remember I fucking got in, kind of did a quick rip right onto the outside, totally disregarded my assignment because I was not supposed to try to cut into the. I just started thinking Madden mode in my head and get right up to the quarterback. Obviously, I just slapped him on the ass. It's not like I was going to crash him in practice, but I realized then, like, oh shit, I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
And I just gave it my all.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at people like you, or even like from my generation, the Mikey Wersch, where I'm like, how does someone just constantly smack? It's an incredible amount of stamina and endurance that you guys have to fucking hold on to, and then do every play all game long. Where does that, like, how do you even train for something like that?
I'll tell you what it is the secret is wrestling. A lot of
Really?
people don't realize this. I'm telling you, the best football players, and this even went into college, I realized it. The best football players, and Walker used to say this, Caesar used to say this all the time, the best football players are usually wrestlers. I'm telling you, I don't care what position you play, if you were a wrestler at some point, that anything you learn in wrestling can be translated onto the football field. Balance, agility, strength, knowledge, hand-eye coordination, speed, like, you name it. Like, because that was part of the reason why I was able to get out of my stance so quick, because I'm so used to being low, grappling, taking shots. My knees could handle that. I was good with that. So getting out of my stance was no problem. Moving around in my stance, going from, left side of the ball to the right side of the ball, switching stances. People in high school, you weren't allowed to be in the left-handed stance. People couldn't be in both hands. I picked that up pretty quick because wrestling just taught me, you got to be able to use your entire body, to wrestle at all time. You got to use your body to take down your opponent. Well, that came down to football. I could rip with my right hand, rip with my left hand, get my right hand stance, get my left hand stance.
You got some added perks too. You could pull that fucking jersey down.
The grip was there. Like, hand fighting, it's just grappling the entire time. Like, you're in a line, you got a guy trying to get in your inside hands. Well, I know, I'm just going to grab his wrist for boom, 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 I'm off, And
that can shake up an alignment.
Oh, yeah.
You go up against a guy that's good at that, and I'm sure you've gotten in some people's heads just from that alone. I hated that. Hated doing that shit.
Yeah.
But you gotta get good at it. So wrestling, huh?
Yeah. And
I mean, I can see it. It's not like I'm doubting that in any way. I definitely can see that and totally fucking respect it. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to wrap up his high school career and then on into college, because that is a whole lot of crazy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, we're going to be right back, okay? All right, guys, we are back after a quick break. And we are still right in the swing of things, talking all things high school football at the moment. Just heard what it takes to keep your stamina up, and now I want to talk to you about moving into the lights. Those Friday night lights hit. You feel that heat. I mean, beautiful fucking time to be an athlete. The fall of any season. Just getting out, the fall of any season, the fall of every year, and getting out there and just fucking smelling that grass, clicking your helmets. Beautiful time, especially when you're going out there to play. When you first got out there, did you know whenever you were going to first step out onto a Friday night field? Or was it kind of just in the moment?
It was in the moment.
Haslage, get out there.
Sophomore year, I was, just a youngin'. It was, I think sophomore year I was on, PAT block and stuff like that.
Right.
PAT. So it wasn't really I was on the field for those moments, but, I wasn't really playing. I was just, a quick little jab step, PAT, whatever.
Yeah.
But the first time I got onto the field, so the coaches had me as a center mostly, still in high school, but I knew that defense was my shit. That's what I wanted to play. I wanted to be a D lineman. So, but Richardson was our defense coordinator at the time, and Coach Edwards, me and him worked a lot. Obviously, we talked about that. So it was whoever the starter was at the time, playing D-line, we were playing Brecksville. That was
Big boys.
Big boys.
Big boys.
Yeah. And that was when the Tupa brothers were still there.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So we were home. We're getting whooped by Brecksville at this point. I mean, it's like third quarter or whatever, and our nose jumps offsides 2 plays in a row. And Richardson's like yells at him. He's like, "Get your ass off the field." He didn't know who to, and I always stood right by my position coach. Every single time I was on the sideline, right behind him. Richardson turns around, he sees me, he's like, "Haslage, get your ass in there."
I love that man.
Oh, love him.
Love that fucking man right there.
You want to talk about another guy, football genius.
Oh my God, a god.
God, like
always smelled like cinnamon and chewing tobacco.
Red man.
Red man.
Oh man! Anytime he made a good play,
Red.
you want a pinch? I'm good, Rich. I'm 16, but whatever.
Dude, I love that dude. We cut down a tree at his house, like not that when I was working for Billy.
Yeah.
And it was just like me and Mark just got out of the truck and we're like, oh no, he's gonna be riding our ass this whole time we cut this tree down.
Mm-hmm.
He just said, look, either you two dumb shits fucking hit my house, I'm beating your ass. I said, yes sir. I think I said yes coach.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, dude, I'm still fucking in that mindset.
Yeah, that memory is, it's so routine to say that to him.
So there you go. I mean, and that's the game of football right there. So and all it takes is one mistake. Sorry, dude. Get your ass back out. Get your ass in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, you're running out, clicking that helmet in. What's going through your mind?
Oh, I'm shitting myself.
Really?
Butterflies. I'm sweating. I'm like, don't fuck this up. This is your opportunity.
Your
Only
job. Don't fuck up.
So what happens? First snap, whatever. I kind of like do my thing as a little quick pass, so I didn't really get much action.
Mm-hmm.
They were just kind of quick setting. It was like nothing crazy, whatever. Second plays goes by, same exact thing. We had them down in their end zone, so they were trying to get out, quick passes here and there, and then I jump. I jumped once. Richardson pulls me off, grabs my helmet. He's like, why the hell would you jump? I was ready to leave you in the rest of the game, but then you jumped. And I'm like, damn, like, you idiot. Why the fuck would you jump? So I was right behind him, begging. I'm like, coach, put me back in. And he's like, all right, whatever. So he puts me back in the fourth quarter. I made a tackle. That was probably like the biggest adrenaline rush of my life.
Oh, that's got to be a beautiful fucking feeling.
First time ever playing on the field, like on a Friday night like that. Crowds are packed against a really good team, and I go out there and I make like a nice solo TFL, and I was on top of the world that night. Like nobody could tell me shit. I was like, oh man, that's it. Like I love this game. Like, and that's when I was like, all right, defense is my thing. I don't want to play anything else. Like I was like, I don't care. Like I need to be out on this field. So that like put a thing in my mind, like I got to work hard to like
chase that feeling.
Exactly.
Keep chasing that feeling after a tackle.
Oh yeah.
Tackle for loss, a sack. Holy shit. You guys used to get so hype on the field, and that's the thing for like especially us linemen. I always, I'm a flashy type, I guess, athlete at heart. So I want to fucking talk shit.
Oh yeah.
I want to fucking kind of push my limit, and I like taunting people. Oh yeah. And after a fucking big hit, nothing feels better than just celebrating with your boys.
Yeah.
Like, I got goosebumps just thinking about your scenario there. Like that. Oh my God, I remember it. So for me, even worse, Avon Lake, right? Our left tackle blows his knee out. Ingles and here's the craziest thing is my friends showed up that for that game, and they shouldn't have. Like Amherst was a terrible fucking team. It was we always played Avon Lake last game of the year. Yep. Do they still?
I think they mix it in now a little bit.
And they came to watch me, and he put me in, and I was just like, holy shit, like this is fucking happening. Clicked on that helmet, and so I'm scared, but I let off like a loud ass scream. I'm like, let's fucking go. We're getting cracked, dude. We're getting smashed. Yeah. And we drive the ball down and score a touchdown. My first ever drive, we scored a touchdown. And we started with terrible fucking field, like terrible advantage off a monster punt. And drove like almost, I think, 75 yards. Yeah. And we got to that end zone. I was so tired, but so fucking happy to just celebrate. It was like unlike anything I'd ever felt before. Like that rush just going through your body. And, I absolutely loved it, dude. There's nothing quite like being out there with those lights. Something about playing on the lights. You see it as especially for us, we've loved football ever since we were kids. We used to go to the Amherst football games as kids and, like, watch these dudes and worship them. So I come off the field, and I remember, I was always 74. Whoever wore that prior to me, because I wore it from freshman all the way through, their parents were at the game, and he was up playing at the next level. He was playing college ball, and they shook my hand. They just said, I love to see you honoring that jersey that way. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, like, I just get in, start getting recognition. Immediately I knew, like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is it right here. So you start going on. When do you, like, is it the next game? Are you just playing straight defense all the time?
I was getting time here and there. They, throw me in for a series here or there. Someone gets winded, someone, goes out with a little ankle or whatever. They throw me in for a little bit. But then it came to like week 8, 9, and 10. Our starting center broke his wrist on a snapping hand. So they were like, we need a center. Cam, you're the next center. Boom, you're in there. And I remember Edwards telling me, like, prior to that season in sophomore year, like week 2 or whatever, he was saying that, he's like, you have a real shot of being a starter. You keep up with the playbook, keep working hard, and, you can be a starter by the end of the season.
That's good.
So
that's
then I kept, kept that in the back of my head. I was always taking snaps after practice, even though I didn't want to play offense, but whatever. But I remember that when I found out that Josh, whoever it was, broke his wrist, and then they said, you're next up, and I was like, oh shit, like, I'm going to start? Like, I was like, oh, that's like, bet, let's go. So I remember leading up that entire week. I mean, I was locked in, laser focused every single day of practice. Weight room, I was pushing myself like crazy. I'm like I got to start this weekend. Like, there's no joke.
Literally, you entered sicko mode, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, I was just like, just hunting my prey, like going after it. And game day rolls around. I remember, actually, Thursday night we had team dinner or whatever. Edwards pulls me aside and he me and him have like a real serious talk, and he's like, you realize that tomorrow's your day. Like, it's your first start. Like, like, you got to realize what this means. We talk, whatever. He gives me a little pep talk, and then after that talk, I mean, the next day, Friday, I didn't say a word to anybody. The only thing that was on my head was, I got football to play tonight. Like, I did not care. I mean, zoned out through every single class. Like, Lowry.
It'd be like that too. And there's no way to describe you, especially on a big game. You don't fucking retain anything but that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. And I remember, going out there for warm-ups and stuff, and, it was the first time where I went out early, before kickoff, because normally it was like, oh, I'm a JV guy, sophomore, I'll run out, when the whole team runs out.
Right.
But now it's, no, you're a starter. You got to go warm up before everybody else. And I walk out there, and it was my first time seeing the crowd before a game, like, rather than during game. And I see the crowds filling up, and I'm like, oh, this is real now. Like, it's
was it home?
Real. Yeah, it was home.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Home
beautiful.
start. Like, I loved it. And I think we played Westlake, I want to say. And, man, like, I remember during warm-ups, Edwards comes up to me, shakes my hand, hugs me, and he's like, tonight's your night, make it count. And I was like, and that, like, I still get chills to this day when I think about that moment. Because, man, I was like, he's right. Like, let's go make the best of it. And I don't think I had a bad snap in the entire game.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then I was like, I might have let up a sack or something, but, I mean, we played a good game. We won. It was my first start, and we won. And it was good. It was my sophomore year. We only won, let me think. We only won 2 games my sophomore year, and the second game where we won was my first start. And I was like, that says something, right? Like, in my own head, I was like, it says something. Like,
it says something to the coaches, too.
Yeah.
100%, especially the way Edwards, he's very vocal about accomplishments. He'll kind of, then that's what I think makes a good coach. He gives praise to everyone, like in a public way, but when it's time to kind of like correct things, he'll pull you aside.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're in the middle of practice acting like an asshole, he's going to crack your head, but...
Oh, yeah.
That makes a good coach, knowing how to discipline and how to reward, which is really fucking cool. That he kind of like pulled you aside, like privately, solo, gave you a little pep talk, and then you went out there and just smashed shit. So now that I'm thinking about it, 100% my first start was against Brecksville too, or my first time going out on the field was against Brecksville. I get them obviously mixed up because of color, but you know what I'll never forget about playing against Brecksville is anytime you play at Brecksville, their announcer, bees, first down, bees, and I'm like, shut, dude, we used to be on the field like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and that's like later in the season, it's starting to get cold out, and then you guys, when you were my age. There was BW, we used to play at BW twice a year, but then the schools combined, right?
Yeah.
It was Berea and Mid Park.
Yeah.
What was the team name then? Just Berea Mid Park?
Larry, the school is named Berea Mid Park High School now.
That's chaos.
Yeah, and they're the Titans.
Oh.
Yeah, they're like orange and blue. Their colors are ugly.
That's trash.
Yeah.
That's some Denver Bronco garbage right there.
Yeah, it's real ugly.
Okay. So you get through your first start, amazing feeling. I remember at every home game, I used to get super emotional. Not in like a bad way, but like, so going with the flashy shit, I used to wear fucking shooter sleeves, gloves. I had a giant Mueller shield,
Yeah.
visor and shit, and like I was about to swag too. Like I had to talk my shit and show it when I was out there. And every time, like when we would run through the helmet and, you know, we'd get by the student section and get hype and then do our break, I wouldn't be able to get in. I'd have to stay on the outside and just walk back and forth because I'd be fucking like crying and shit right before snaps.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time Edward saw that and he was like, "You fucking good, son?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just fucking love this shit." And then he would go back up into the box. Was he like that for you? Was he on the field or was he up in the...
He was on the field for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he would just stay up literally right until it was game time, and then he'd shoot up there. But the scariest thing is when you have to put on the headphones, when the quarterback comes over and he goes, "Hey."
Yeah.
And I go, no, I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it wasn't off of any mistakes I had. But, and I'll say this, because I don't really care, but, you know, DeFranco definitely wanted me to prove my worth every year. I kind of took things easy. I wanted to be flashy, but I also, like, didn't really want to put in the work. So, like, if I, you know, had a blown out knee or I was in an elbow brace, I wasn't showing up to liftings.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, nah, fuck it, they'll be good. And so a lot of people got pissed about that. You have to be kind of a good sport about things, or at least a teammate. And in my fucked up mind, I didn't think I needed to. So when we get out there and he said, "Hey, right before the game against Olmsted Falls, Psychopaths,
Yep.
we're gonna switch roles with you and so tonight. You're gonna start still." I said, "All right." So we're walking out on the field and commentators like on the loudspeaker announcing the starter, says my name. I get fired up. I'm ready to go. Well, Edwards is already up there. He doesn't know that the head coach made this call, right? So I go out, first drive, we score. Get the ball back. We go for the next push, and they score. On kickoff, our guy fucking drops it, and we're on like the 5. Like, dude, we're like literally so far fucking back.
Yeah.
And the replacement goes in, right? I don't even think Coach Edwards knew. First fucking play, starting off in the gun, gets the ball, and it's left tackle. I mean, it's the blind side for a reason. Keep your quarterback protected. He lets the guy go right through and cracks him for a safety, my guy. I had never seen Anthony Iliopoulos run that fucking fast in my life. He was our backup quarterback. I mean, we were still kids then. Sprints up to me, and he's like, "This is for you." And I was just like, no. And I just remember, and Edwards obviously is watching me from down low. As soon as he sees me put on the headphones, he's like, "You motherfucker, what the fuck? Why is he out there right now?" And I said, Coach said that's what we're doing tonight. And he goes, "I don't give a fuck. You're playing the rest of the game. You go tell him yourself." I said, "Yes, sir." And I just fucking took the headphones off. I felt like a dog that got hit. You know, I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And that's what comes into being like a team leader, you know? Even if it's not you, hold your fucking teammates accountable. Where did you kind of see yourself fit into that role on the defense?
I would say that started around my, going into junior year. So after sophomore year, I had 3 starts under my belt, probably 6 total games played.
Probably more knowledge than every other person your age.
My grade, we only had 3 guys get varsity letters as a sophomore. And that was me, Mark, and Jared Braddock.
That's a good accomplishment right there.
Mark played, I think Mark played almost every single game our sophomore year. I wouldn't say he started every game. I could be wrong. But he probably started maybe 6 out of the 10 games.
That's good.
Mark was, he was playing safety for us, and then I got, 3 starts, and then, some other games played. So going into junior year, we were kind of looked as like the young vets. We were like the guys that have experience. We're up and coming still. We still got a few more years to play. So like things were looking up for us.
Yep. With the coaches and your teammates.
Yeah. So what the difference between our years is DeFranco resigned my freshman year.
Right.
It was after your senior year. Mm-hmm. So then my sophomore year, we got a new coach. Officially, he was head coach from Avon. He was the assistant at Avon.
That's right.
Came into head coach at Amherst
and had a lot to kind of bring to the table.
Oh yeah, he had a lot of knowledge. He pretty much just brought everything from Avon and kind of transitioned it into Amherst and like their playbook, their offensive scheme, their defensive scheme. Like
they ran a good at least for offense. I know they ran a pretty decent offense.
Yeah, they had a really nice spread set up. They were running, but the thing is, they also had the personnel. Like so, my junior year, we didn't really have the personnel for a spread. We were probably more power I, something along those lines. You know, maybe an option, but we weren't. You know, we weren't smart enough to run like a triple option kind of deal. So.
And it's the chemistry of the team. It's what have you guys been learning? Mm-hmm. And we were programmed at a young age, especially having influences like Coach Ebon and people like that would just be there from this time you were in 4th grade up. Mm-hmm. They did what the high schools were doing to prep you for that. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely hard when you got to change everything you know.
Yeah. So, like I would say, junior year is probably when I started getting into like a leadership role because officially decided, you know, I don't know what his reasoning was behind it. It sounds crazy, but we had no captains my junior year. There was no like designated captains. Mm-hmm. Every single week he picked 3 seniors, go out there to the coin toss, you know, and you guys, you're talking, you 2 are just captains tonight. And like that was that. And you know, it worked out kind of. I wish we would have had, you know, 4 or 5 designated captains, but whatever.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that too, of kind of the importance of having team captains.
Like, so, you know, from a young guy's standpoint. So if I'm a sophomore or junior, I don't have a lot of playing time, you know, but I'm looking to get that playing time. Mm-hmm. You give me a team captain, I know who to go to now. You know, when there's no team captain, it's like, okay, who do I talk to besides the coaches? Like,
you just build whoever you can talk to the easiest, but they might not be a starter or getting any reps.
Yeah, and
that can be dangerous.
And I think because I ended up being a captain my senior year, and I noticed that once I became a captain, like I held myself to a different standard, you know. Like I'm like,
move different.
Yeah, I was like, man, like this is my team now. Like, so the success is on our hands. You know, it was the captains my senior year was Johnny, me, Steerhoff, and Jared Braddock.
God damn, those are some studs right there.
Yeah, those are like those are 4 good captains, I think, and you know we really, you know, I feel like when you mentioned earlier that, you know, we kind of changed the pace. I feel like the biggest thing that we did is we changed the mindset of Amherst football. You know,
and that's what a captain can do.
Yeah. Exactly. The culture, the mindset of the team. Because junior year, it was nobody really gave a shit. It was kind of like, oh, we're out here, we're gonna play football. You know, it's just Amherst football again. We kind of suck. Whatever.
That's our times, right?
And it made me so frustrated in junior year because we had some studs. I mean, Todd Hastings went to BW to play.
Animal.
I mean, beast, wrestling, football, freak athlete.
Savage.
For those. Yeah. I mean, he's one of those guys. You know. He'll go fuck around, do whatever, act like a total goof, you know, outside.
He played ball like me. Yeah.
But he jumped on that field, you know, totally different beast.
Ready to crack shit.
Noah Jackson went to BW. He was another stud.
Yeah,
for
big
us.
Boy.
Big. He
long,
was
lean.
Yeah.
And he got jacked.
Yeah. He got real big in college. Mm-hmm. They put a lot of weight on him. But, you know, and then we had a lot of this attitude our junior year where it was just like, yeah, you know, we'll get better. We're okay. You know, we wanted to put this, you know, they wanted to put up this image that like we were good, but when it came down to it, it was like, you know, we had, so like over the summer I'd be like, oh, who wants to go get some field work in? Nobody responded. And I'm like, man, you guys want to talk all this shit, you know, say how good we are, but like when it comes down to it, nobody really wants to work. Besides showing up for our liftings, showing up for our practices, that was
doing the bare minimum, essentially.
Literally.
And that's where it's so important to even have you in that position without captains to even make that offer to someone. Because, you know, if that was the mindset of, oh, you know, next year will be better, you don't get better next year without putting the work in today.
Right.
And that's a mindset that a lot of people don't really carry or ever learn unless it's for sports.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, if you're not utilizing it in sports, I don't want to know the overall success of that team, you know? So then senior year, he decides to switch it up?
Yeah, he switched it up, and because we put together a leadership council, so we would have guys, we'd have, you know, I think it was around 5 guys from each class, so, you know, sophomore, junior, senior, and we would meet, you know, once a week. He got us this leadership book that we had to, you know, read and talk about, so it was like a book club for a little bit. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, I bet it is.
But it was good because, you know, we talked about, you know, all right, we talked about, it was almost like a business meeting, you know, it was, all right, so what are the DBs saying? Well, what's the chat with the DBs right now? Or what do they think? Are they happy? Are they upset? Or like, is something pissing them off? Is a coach pissing them off? And what's the attitude?
Was there a coach around, or was it just the players?
The head coach, Edwards, would be there sometimes.
Okay.
You know, some other coaches would pop in here and there, but every single time it was our head coach.
And you guys, it was on you as the athletes to collect the information and bring it.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. And we'd watch a lot of these videos. That was the time where I also got to watch videos of other teams. So we would watch, we'd watch different schools, we watch college teams, how they practice, what their attitude is. So it kind of gave us a mindset of like, okay, if we want to start becoming a winning team, we need to act like a winning team.
Yeah.
That was the biggest problem, was like, we talk about how we want to be a winning team, but nobody acted like that. Nobody did anything to become a winning team.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, we want this, nobody wanted to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're just running in water, just, not getting anywhere.
Spinning tires, at that point.
So, senior year, I did that leadership, team or whatever, and I remember we started getting, he was saying, I'm going to bring captains back. Everybody, everybody in the leadership council is up to become a captain, but we are going to do a vote, and you
guys are highest of priority.
So we have to do an application. Why write a little thing about why we think we'd be a good captain, and then we came in with we literally did an interview with all the coaches, like why, like it was
one at a time.
Yeah,
that's nice.
It was crazy. So the leadership council, the other guys, if they on the team, if they wanted to be a captain, they would also have to do the interview too.
Yeah, apply for it though.
Yeah. So it was almost like a job application. Like it was like, I'm getting this job to become a captain. And I remember I was like, I need to be a captain. Like
when you sat down with them?
Yeah.
Tell me about that interview process.
So it was really just like, because at this point, it's my senior year. I, been starting since sophomore year, started every single game, played both ways junior year most of the time. So, I had some experience under my belt. They knew had some accolades after the season. I think I was like all conference or whatever, and then honorable mention all district or something like that.
Right.
Whatever. So I had some experience to it, and I told him, I said, I promise you, like, I told the coach, I said, if I'm captain, like, I promise the attitude will change around here, because I'm not taking shit. Like, I don't care if these kids don't want to buy in, then get out. It's like, it's at this point, it's like you're either on the ship or you're not. If you're one of those guys that's like, oh, well, I'm just playing just because, I have nothing else to do. Well,
I'm just going to suit up Fridays and see how it goes.
Yeah, or, there's a lot of those guys where they're just jersey chasers. They just want to wear the jersey through the hallways, and, like, it's an image thing.
I fucking hate those people. Let me just say that on the record, on the podcast, on the camera. Fuck those people. Those dudes suck. And they always got their hair done. Like, they always got their hair done up on some corny shit.
Yeah, it was always the pretty boys they were always the ones that posted the most on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Like, I'm like, bro, you haven't even touched the damn field. Like, all your pictures you're posting are from warm-ups. They're not even from game time. Like, how you gotta flex that you're warming up? Like, everybody warms up, bro. Like, come on.
Oh, my God. Here, I'm going to send a subliminal message to a few of my guys, Justin Mott, Pat Mott, and Logan Mahar. We all know the one guy, clean jersey all game. At the end of the game, decides to run and dive in the mud so that his mom can take pictures of him. That shit was bogus, bro. That was fucking. I saw that. I said, "Yo, pause. What the fuck was that?" And he took a picture like, "Great win today," and I was like, "Damn, this dude really just did that shit. He really just did that."
Yeah.
Blew me away.
Yeah, we had some guys like that too. I don't know if anybody went that extreme, but we did have some guys. Clean jerseys at the end of the game. They're posting great team win. Like, man, you didn't like. I'm about the whole team aspect.
Right.
It does take a team to win, but don't act like you were like a big part of that win, because I'm sorry, but you literally watched the entire time. Like, but whatever.
No, I get it, bro. I get it. So there's a few things I want to touch on, especially about your senior year, being a captain, and we don't have to go too much on the captain stuff, but that was a very important thing for me, especially even like my freshman year. You, a lot like me, were kind of drawn towards a more mature crowd your entire life. So you would hang out with people older, work out with people older. I mean, everything.
Literally.
It takes a special mind and mature mindset to even be able to play on a Friday night as a sophomore. I mean, some of us were fucking 15 years old. We were both 15. Yeah. Out there playing against 18-year-olds. Mm-hmm. I mean, so you have to be mature both physically and mentally in some ways. And I remember even as a freshman, guys like Zach Pepe, Marty, Marty was a psycho,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Holy shit.
There's not many people that I was like afraid of as a kid, but like when I remember the first time I met Marty, he gave me this crazed look in his eye, and I was like,
that dude is a psycho.
I was like, I need to stay away from this guy. Like, I'm gonna just go hang out over here.
Dude, great guys, and and especially Zach Pepe, just like being a beast on the line.
Oh yeah.
Kind of just took me under his wing. As a freshman, having a senior to look up to, who's a captain, who's a good fucking role model, changed my life in so many ways, even into my like adult life. You know, having someone that you can use as a mentor goes a long way, just in life in general, but especially in sports. So I'm almost positive that you get a well-deserved captain spot your senior year, and you might have, without even knowing, been a huge kind of example for even kids that were freshmen or maybe even younger.
So yeah, some kids, I remember there was definitely some kids where I early on I pointed out, I'm like, I need to help this kid,
right.
Like not saying that he needed help, but I wanted to guide him, Matt Lee, I'll give a big shout out to Matt Lee. That's one of my best friends from high school. I mean, beast.
Animal.
State placer for 3 years wrestling. I mean, I wrestled him every single day. I'll admit it, I got my ass kicked every day wrestling that man. I mean, just freak athlete, great football player, goofy ass guy. Another one of those dudes.
He's funny.
Goofy as hell. So, it was him. Ryan George was another one. Ryan George is another big guy. Edwards told me, he's like, you need to go talk to Ryan. You need to get him ready to play some football because
that's good.
He is big, 6'3", 300+ pounds.
Putting up big numbers in the gym. Still, I'm pretty sure. Like the kid's a fucking amazing, amazing athlete.
I've lifted with him a couple times since high school, and I remember when we first started getting him to come to football lifts, and I remember when he could barely, put up, like 135 or whatever it was, like he was struggling with some weight. Now this man is warming up with like my max, and I'm like, damn, like I saw him not too long ago, and I was like, damn, Ryan, like I remember when you were struggling on the lift. He's like, yeah, I remember those days too. You taught me how to squat, and now this dude's squatting 600, 700 pounds like it's nothing.
Dude, that's animal shit, right there.
Crazy. I'm pretty sure he's got a record. I think he's got a state record for powerlifting of his age group.
Really?
I think so.
That's some boss shit right there.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's got some type of record out there that, of how strong he was for his weight class.
I'm pretty sure. So I know me and Matt worked separate solo one day, just me and him, cutting down trees. That's like a lineman's fucking fantasy right there.
Oh, yeah.
Cutting down, dragging fucking trees and shit. And me and him had a really good conversation. He was still in high school at the time. And then I'm pretty sure I worked with George one day. I think he filled in, and that was kind of cool.
Because he was good friends with Kyle.
Right, and I'm almost positive I did. If not, I know I've met him before.
Yeah.
And just even seeing those guys, it's like cool as a alumni of Amherst football to kind of see just like the icons of your younger classes come through, and it's like, that's cool shit right there.
And like when I saw those guys, and we grew. Had a great relationship with all those guys. We became brothers, really. Like, I can honestly say, those are my brothers. Like, to this day, I can talk to them about anything, whenever, no questions asked, they would answer, give me an honest response, whatever it may be. Those guys are my brothers. But, I was thinking, as like, because I had that too. I had Logan, you guys, Ebon would come up to me all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Who else was another one big? Like the Williams brothers, those are more wrestlers guys, but they came in, even during football, they're giving me a lot of pep talks, trying to help me out. Matt Hess, another one, those guys, they kind of took me under their wing, and I used to hang out with all you guys too, because
every day. Bro. There was a summer where I don't think I left your fucking house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I would see you guys all the time, and. So then when the role switched, when I became that older guy, and I'm looking down, I'm like, I definitely need to pay it forward. I need to help some other guys out, and that was part of the reason, why we had a really good, solid D line my junior year. We had Matt Lee was playing end, I was playing nose, Hunter Gibson was playing end, and we had Jacob Lezon would rotate in. Greg Rhodes would rotate in a little bit.
Those big boys?
Yeah. All, they're both 6'2", 6'3".
I know your starters for sure.
Yeah.
Animals.
Yeah.
And all different in build, which actually is what kind of makes the D-line what it is.
Yeah. It was crazy because Hunter Gibson he was mostly our weak side end. He was 6'2", 6'3", maybe, about 220, 240, so a little
Right.
bit slender of a build. Then you had me, 5'9", 250 my senior year, short, stocky build. Then you had Matt Lee, 6'2", 300 pounds,
Right.
big boy.
Fucking brick wall.
Exactly. So it was just like, it was this weird dynamic, these weird body types on this D-line, but arguably our D-line was our strong suit. I mean, Edwards always pushed that. He was saying that, I don't care what, at the end of the day, the D-line unit is going to be the best unit to touch that field. On this team, it'll be the best unit. And we took that to heart. We took that serious when it came to weight room, when it came to, 2-a-days, it came to like Saturday mornings. It'd be Saturday mornings after a game. We're all beat the hell up, just sore, and we're like, all right, who can squat more today? Let's see who can squat more. And still, my knees are cracking when I'm squatting, but you know what? I don't care. I'm throwing 405 on the bar because Matt just did 405, so I'm going to do it for one more rep than him now.
That's where that brotherhood comes, bro. It has to come from deep.
We just knew how to compete with each other. That was the thing.
Good.
And during practice, it would get scrappy sometimes because we're always fighting each other. We're trying to get the best rep that we can. So during practice, my senior year, there would be some young kids that I was trying to help get better, and next thing you know, I'm fighting that kid. We're throwing punches at each other, but that's how it goes, and that's
all love. Too.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing personal. It's just the sport. We're literally in a fight as it is when we're playing the sport.
Exactly.
Things get chippy. That's how it goes, and that's how you get better too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've learned more from me getting beat than I have from my wins.
Oh yeah,
every single time, in everything in life.
Yeah.
So we still got to obviously cover 4 years of college football. So we're going to be running for a little bit longer. We're going to take a super quick break, talk about closing off his senior year and what college has in store. We'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, we are back after our second break of this evening. Sometimes these episodes go long. I know lately I've just been going an hour. But when you get someone that you got a lot of fun, we're not even cracking the surface on some of the good stuff that we have.
We might even be able to do a mini series on it.
Literally, a 3-part mini series, each going an hour and a half long.
We could.
We literally could. We might have to.
I'm not opposed to that. I'll be down.
Right. They don't even know. Yeah. They have no fucking
We'll talk about that. Stay tuned.
So senior year. Whether you're going on to college or the fucking NFL, there's nothing quite like high school football.
Nope.
And ending that is like letting go of your first love. It's not an easy thing. Tell me how you handled, how was that for you?
Well, for me, it was a little different than some of the other guys and my friends and teammates because they all knew they weren't going to go. I was the only one from my class to go play college football.
Wow.
The only one from the 2017 class to do it.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It was kind of funny because you know how they do the whole ceremony of college athletes or whatever, and only one football guy. And it was kind of funny. I kind of felt weird up there. I was like, baseball, softball, volleyball, basketball, and I'm like...
That's an accomplishment, though. The only one.
I take pride in that, yeah.
That's huge, dude.
Yeah, so, for me, I knew that this wasn't going to be the last time I was going to play football. So, yes, it was bitter. It was sad at times. It was like, damn, I'm not going to, have these Friday nights anymore under these lights. Like you said, this beautiful stadium, weather, and everything. The vibe on Friday nights is just nothing beats
different.
It. Yeah, nothing beats it. I remember my senior night when I walked out, and it was Matt Lee, Johnny, and me, and I think Mark too. We all normally when we run out the helmet, everybody's running or whatever. And I said, I'm not running this time. I'm soaking this moment in. I walked literally just at my own pace. I walked from the end zone all the way around, and I just looked around, and I hit this euphoric feeling, and I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I was looking around. I'm like, man, this is it. This is the last one. Shit, it's over, and I'm like, let's leave it all out tonight. Let's ball out,
Yes.
So, for me though, I was it wasn't this is the end of the road, but it was just this is the end of a chapter, I got other things to do, and that's kind of the other thing is what made me want to play. One, when I was a young kid and watching college football, I told myself at an early age, you're gonna play college football. Football is my love. I'm gonna play college football. I don't care where I go, what I do. Everybody hopes to be the big D1 star. Everybody wants that. But in high school, I realized I'm not growing any taller. I'm 5'9". I'll leave it at that. But I'm gonna try to take football as far as I possibly can. So, when I started getting recruiting, it started really around junior year off season, I would start going to a lot of camps. I was going to Youngstown State Camp, Ohio State Camp. I went to Toledo. I went to Findlay. I mean, there's probably a bunch of other camps, showcases and stuff too.
Players from all around the state.
All around.
Yeah.
And that's where I really kind of realized like what college is like, because now it's not, you know, small town Amherst football, you know, where, you know, in Amherst I was an above average player, you know, balling out every Friday night. But then you go to these camps and like you got guys from smaller schools showing you up.
You realize just how good some of these guys are.
Then you got guys from, you know, big powerhouse schools, guys like from Ed's, Iggy, you know.
Oh fuck, they're showing up at this shit.
Menor,
my God.
everybody. I mean, yeah, you get these monsters walking in. I'm like, damn, like this, I got to go against this guy. Like, what the hell? He's like 6 inches taller than me. But you know, that's where I know I kind of felt like I also put myself apart, because you know there'd be those guys that are these huge frames, they're beasts of, you know, human beings, but like I'm, you know, 5'9", whatever, but like there'd be times where I bully them, you know, and then I'm like, yeah, you got this big ass frame, but you're shitty, bro. Like I'll put you in the dirt right now. I don't care. Like, and that was just kind of like my mindset too. Was like,
you have to.
I had a little chip on my shoulder because I had to prove, you know, yeah, I'm undersized, but like I can play with the best, you know, to an extent.
Bro, that's some gladiator shit right there. You basically going out there, not prepared to die, but like you're prepared to fucking win at all costs, especially when it's some David and Goliath type shit.
And I got to credit wrestling for that too, because you know wrestling, it's only you out on the mat, so like it kind of taught me like, all right, when I go to these football camps now, we're doing one-on-one, you know, O-line versus D-line. Well, I'm trying to play defense, so I got to go against these big tackles, big guards, these all-star centers, and I'm like,
it's only you. I mean, it's not like you're representing Amherst or you're there. It's just you.
Yeah, there was, you know, in a lot of those camps, like the D1 camps that I went to, a lot of the guys I was facing got invited to that camp from the school. I just signed up and paid for that. I just wanted to go and get the
your
experience.
Name out there,
Exactly. So, you know, for one example, I went to the Youngstown State camp, and this guard that they are recruiting heavily, offering him scholarship, coaches are talking to him the entire day. And I'm like, and where one-on-ones come up, and I'm like, I gotta go against this guy. Like, I gotta do something. So, you know, I put a little move on him, get by him, and I'm like, all right, like I'm starting to feel myself. And then I put another move on him, get him again. I'm like, okay, let's go.
I'm doing this shit.
Yeah, I'm doing this shit. Like, I can run with the dogs. Like, let's do it. You know, then you know he kind of caught on to my scheme and lockdown, and I was like, all right, so there's the talent. That's the drop off. Is like, I've run out of moves now. You know, he knows what to do,
and he's shutting it down from all angles.
Exactly. So like, you know, there's a difference. You know, sometimes I can get my way. You know, but you know, then there's those guys where you just can't beat them. You know, and like, you know, that's the thing is like you gotta accept. You know, not, you know, you can't be the best at all times, but you know, I'm gonna try to be the best.
And you practice to
beat
eventually
those,
become the best, or at least beat them.
So then, you know, I started realizing like, and the other thing was too is like I started going on college visits or whatever, and when I go to these visits, you know, the coaches are like, oh, why don't you stay for practice too? Watch how practice goes. And I look at the way college practice is ran compared to high school practice, and I'm like, oh, this is a totally different vibe, totally different mentality. Like, like it is like we're at practice we're perfecting everything. Every single rep counts. Like it was like you don't have a bad rep in practice. You know, like you don't dog it, because if you dog in practice, you know, you're gonna start dogging on the field, and that's where you know the saying, you know, you practice how you play. I saw that now. Once I started going on these visits, I'm like, no, these guys are like, this seems like a full game, but it's
Are
practice.
The coaches fine tuning you the whole time?
Yep.
You're constantly under a microscope.
Oh, all eyes. I mean, you got 4 sets of eyes on you at all times.
Shit.
You couldn't get away with anything. Then you got 3 cameras recording every single practice. You got 3 different angles of practice every single time. So
you don't want to fuck up too much, because you know if they're going to study, especially at a college level, they're really going to study.
Oh yeah.
They're going to find your fuck ups.
Yeah. So, you know, when it came down to deciding which college I wanted to look, so I realized, you know, D2s. No, I mean, there were some D2s coming in. You know, I got some walk-on offers or whatever, and I was thinking like, you know, if I walk on, I probably am not going to play that much anymore. So, you know what, like let's look elsewhere. And I was getting Heidelberg was actually the first college to contact me, and they were on my ass.
I like Heidelberg.
Yeah,
cool colors, black and orange.
Orange.
Yeah, that's sick.
Their campus is beautiful too.
I bet.
It's like it looks like almost like Hogwarts. Like it kind of has those
old shit. Yeah.
And I thought it was cool, but it's small and in the middle of nowhere. I mean, Tiffin is just surrounded by cornfields.
Oh wait, is Heidelberg near Tiffin?
They're literally right across the street from each other.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Like Heidelberg's right here, and Tiffin University is right over here.
Wow.
Like they're in walking distance of each other.
Let me ask you, totally off topic. Did you look at John Carroll at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually wanted to go to John Carroll
That
for a
bitch
little
is
bit.
smack dab in the middle of Cleveland.
Yep.
Dude, like right in the middle. I was
right in the middle.
delivering a car one day, and my GM's like, hey, it's a professor at the college. And I'm like, I don't fucking know what college he's talking about. Like Cleveland State, maybe? And I start pulling into like this like area where I'm like, damn, these houses are sick. They're like old Victorian homes.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, it's just like this beautiful fucking, I don't know, like, wow.
Yeah, the stadium is huge too.
Dude.
Yeah. I remember when I went on a game day visit there. When as soon as I stepped foot on campus, I was looking around. And I'm like, I looked at my dad was with me. I was like, I want to go here. And he's like, well, let's talk to the coach and see, how serious they are. And then, they had the D-line coach at the time I was talking to a lot, this and that, and he was like, your tape's impressive, this and that, we'll have you come out for a visit, see how you like the campus. And ultimately it just came down to like the price. I was like, once they said they said like $60,000 a year, I threw up in my mouth and I was like, all right, I don't know if this is the place then, maybe not. Then they ended up having a coaching switch. Their head coach left, they got a new head coach, so I was like, they lost contact completely. So I was like, all right,
it was
whatever.
meant to be.
Exactly. So looking elsewhere, it was ended up being my final three were in no order, just Heidelberg, Otterbein, BW. And
where's Otterbein? Is that where your sister went?
No, she went to OSU.
No.
Oh.
Where did Mia play?
Edinburgh.
Yeah,
sorry, that's in PA.
Wild fucking names.
But similar colors though.
Yeah.
So Otterbein's in Westerville, right north of Columbus.
Okay.
So and I was really thinking Otterbein because Kylie was going to OSU at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, my sister's right down the road. Columbus is a poppin' area. This and
Beautiful.
that. But then I kind of looked into it and I knew I wanted to do business because the family business I have. So I was thinking like I'm going to do business no matter what. And it came down to Heidelberg, Otterbein, BW, like I said. And I was thinking like, what's the best business school? And I looked into it. And Otterbein's business school is not that great, nothing special. Heidelberg has a pretty good one. But then BW, by far, was the best business school I was looking at the time. So it just seemed like, and their coach, the one recruiter, Coach O, like, he was a great recruiter. He came to wrestling matches for me. He was texting me, calling me. He came in when I was in TV. He came into TV one time and watched the episode and was like, and I was on audio that day, and it was so funny because this is actually a funny story. So I'm in audio. And Lowry comes up behind me. He's like, "Hey, there's a coach here to see you." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, but he's just gonna watch like the episode, and then you can go talk to him." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Well, one of the girls in the TV class was like, "Oh, let me play music before the episode," and I was like, "Yeah, you can play music, whatever." So then she starts playing like Hannah Montana or like Party in the USA. That's literally what she was playing. And Coach O walks up behind me, and he's like, "So you're the one that wants to play college football and you're playing this pussy ass song?" And I was like, damn, he got me. Like, it was just funny. Right. So like, I was like, I promise I'm not like this. Like, it was funny. But so I talked to him for a long time about, what opportunities BW offers, football, all that. And they were actually in a coaching switch too at the time. So,
but was he still going to stay?
Yeah, he was still going to stay. But their head coach they asked him to resign because he just wasn't winning games.
Yeah, shit was happening, right?
So then we brought in Hilvert, and Hilvert's a madman.
That's your head coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
Madman, football genius. And
You've told me about him.
Yeah. And I remember, so I went on an overnight stay at Otterbein. Mm-hmm. And on my way back from Columbus, I'm on 71, about to get off in Ashland. Next thing you know, I see Coach O's calling me. And I'm like, that's kind of funny. Like, I just left Otterbein, whatever. And he's like, puts me on speaker and he's like, "Hey, you're with Hilvert too, our new head coach, and me. Like, how you doing, or whatever?" And I was like,
"It's a draft call."
Yeah,
right there.
and I was like, "Well, to be honest with you guys, I just left Otterbein for an overnight." And they're like, "Oh, that must have been horrible." And I was like, "I'm not gonna lie, it was actually kind of fun. Like, we went out to these parties and everything. We went out to the bars, and I was like, man, Otterbein, I was really fucking with it." So I was like, Otterbein's kind of at the top of my list right now. And you
got to give him a hard time too.
Exactly.
It's give and take.
Exactly. So, they're like, "Oh, that's because you haven't been out here yet." And I'm like, okay. Well, so that on that same car ride, just left an overnight, scheduled another overnight, and Noah Jackson is a freshman at BW. So is Todd Hastings. Both of them I'm really close with. Grew up with both of them. Super close friends with them. And they're like, "Why don't you come stay with Noah?" And I'm like, "All right, yeah, why not?" So I text Noah and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming up this weekend. I'm I'm going to be your overnight. And he's like, oh, we'll have a good time. And I'm like, all right, cool. So then I go on the overnight, and it was just so easy because I've known my entire life. So like, he told me the ins and outs. He did not, didn't hold anything back. Told me everything to know about BW, what it's like, it's
you
classes.
Need that too.
Exactly. It was like, it really exposed me to like what it's like to go there. So after looking at that, and then they were in their spring practice. So on Friday night we went out or whatever, and it was cool. Went to some parties. It was cool to see those. I remember thinking like, man, these parties are jumping for a small little school.
And so for anyone that doesn't know where BW is, also, I mean, pretty much west side of Cleveland, I would say, to sum that up. What city is it exactly, though? Berea, okay. Yeah, Berea Mid-Park. We were literally just saying that.
Yeah, so Berea, Ohio, and they were, they had, BW does a great job of, like, using a lot of buzzwords, having a lot of opportunities, like, so the rec center, first off, is beautiful. The rec center is so nice, top of the line equipment. I mean, huge track inside, basketball courts everywhere, weight equipment, and all that. And they were saying how, our spring ball practices on Saturdays are at the Browns facility, right up the road. And I was like, so you mean I get to go to the Browns facility and practice every day? And they're like, yeah, in the spring, we go there on Saturdays.
That is some next level shit, though.
Oh yeah, and I was like, man, so we have access to all these facilities, and like, it's just crazy. I was like, I gotta be here. Like, once I went on my visit, I was like, it's said and done. Like, I'm going here now.
So, answer me this, because I always thought being a recruiter, especially me and like the way I am as a person, would be a cool job. They're basically a glorified college salesman.
Yes.
They kind of get you in there.
Yeah,
by any means
exactly.
necessary.
Yeah, they sell the school to you, you know,
right.
And so. Noah shows me around or whatever, and I was just...
they went to him like, don't fuck this up.
Yeah,
we need this kid.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun, man. I mean, it really opened up my eyes, and like I said, I just knew right away. I was like, this is the place I gotta go to. And so then leading up into that summer, like I was thinking like, man, I'm gonna go play college football. It's time to take like training to a new level. So I was like, I'm done like kind of doing this thing on my own. I want to like actually seek out some professional training help. So I used to go. Good. Yeah, I used to go to T3 in Avon a little bit. And
for anyone that doesn't know what T3 is, kind of explain what exactly T3 is.
So T3 is like, I mean, I recommend any high school athlete, college athlete, pro athlete, like they have it all now. Like a lot of
any sport.
Any sport. Like they had swimmers there, tennis players, football
I didn't know
players,
that. I didn't
basketball,
know
you name it, golfers, discus, throwers, track athletes. I mean, literally all athletics.
That's good.
They have lacrosse players. I mean, I can go on. Everything. And so T3 was founded by Mike DeAndrea, who was a great athlete from Avon Lake in our conference. Went to Ohio State, played there. I think he was an All-American, great athlete. So that is just sports performance training to the max.
Top of the line coaching in their own sports.
Yeah. I mean, they just built a brand new multi-million-dollar facility. I mean, I went when they were a little bit smaller. It was like this big storage warehouse. They rented out one end of it.
I've been there.
Yeah,
I've been there for a birthday party one time, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then we started having practices there.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, this is kind of fucking cool.
This blue turf and everything.
It's
like, you don't see that.
Type shit.
Yeah, right. It was cool. So, and you see they had this, I mean, they know everything there is to know about training, performance, nutrition, you name it, they have it. Like they have, everybody has a high-end college degree. They're very high professionals. They will, James D. Biazio, I think is his last name.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great trainer for us. He actually came in when we were in high school. He did some of our trainings.
Oh, so he would work with football directly.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So he was a football and baseball guy mostly, and he just knew all the science it was to, like, he explained, all right, this is going to be our lifting program. Now here's why we're doing these movements. And then after we find out why we're doing these movements and what they're going to do to our muscles and our body, then we find out, okay, how can we translate these movements onto the field now?
Wow.
So like it was just
breaking down and dissecting all of it.
Yeah, he had to come full circle.
Shit.
So I mean, anybody that's looking to take their game to the next level, I highly recommend T3. I'll give a shout out to them.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I went to them for a little bit, but then I ended up ultimately going to Blind Dog Gym that's now in Vermilion, but at the time they were in Lorraine.
Yeah, shout out to Blind Dog,
yeah,
too.
Big shout out to Blind Dog. Local gym.
Out.
I mean, I say all these good things about T3. I'm telling you, Blind Dog will get you, very similar results. They know what Mark Valeni is the head guy there. He knows his shit. I mean, He's a lifting vet guru.
Genius.
I mean,
and let's pay respect to talking about when we were kids going to football. Nothing was more of a vibe than the inevitable route you had to take to get to Amherst, where you would see all the varsity dudes just in that fucking garage getting shredded.
I mean, massive guys. You would not expect these guys to be 16, 17,
you
18.
Expect them, you would have thought they were fucking NFL players.
Yeah.
Grown-ass men.
I mean, and
you shouted out Zach. You were going to shout him out earlier.
Yeah, so Zach Pepe he's one of the very first, like, OG blind dog guys.
Yeah, Zach, Marty, A-Rod, rest in peace, A-Rod, and Josh Baer. Animals, all of them, freaks.
Yeah, and so Pepe was, at this time, he graduated from Ashland and was coaching at Blind Dog. And when my dad started going to that gym too, my dad's like, Zach Pepe, he went to Amherst, Mark Valeni, he made him a great athlete. And I was like, let me give this a shot. I mean, I still to this day haven't pushed more weight than I did when I was in that gym.
That's what's up.
He got me so strong, so fast. I mean, I was in by far the strongest I've ever been. I mean, I was pushing crazy weight all the time. Like, so I had it set up to where, luckily, I was fortunate enough to work for my dad, so we were able to work out a schedule. I'd come in the morning, work for 4 or 5 hours or so. My lunch break would be an hour and a half. I'd go to the gym, go get my lift in for an hour. Zach, I was able to pick his brain about everything. And he's so cool, so down to earth, and he's so willing to help anybody. So any question I had, no questions. I mean, no hesitation. He'd give me a nice answer, long, extended answer, detailed. So I was able really to pick his brain about, what do I need to do to take my body to the next level? What do I need to do to get stronger? Or what am I missing? Stuff like that. And then, talking about high school football, transitioning to a college sport. And, big shout out to Zach, because he really helped me, kind of prepare and get ready for college. Then, college hits, and I trained all summer. Noah was telling me, like, you got to really work out, because you'll learn fast that, like,
you guys have hell to pay if you don't.
Yeah. So literally, my first day when we show up to camp in August, my freshman year, we had to show up at 6 a.m. You had to do all these meetings or whatever. Then you had to move into your dorm. And I mean, they had this itinerary from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. We were doing something.
First day was also the day you had to run that circuit, right?
That's what I was just about to say.
Please tell them. That makes me not want to work out.
So after I move in my dorm or whatever, we also have to do the NCAA physicals or whatever. So we go to the training room, and I'm in the training room, and on the bottom of the itinerary, we realize it says, like, physicals for, like, a 2 to 3 hour block. And then right after it said running test, and that's all it said. And then we had a meeting earlier that day, and Hilbert said, bring your tennis shoes or your cleats, where we have something special for you guys tonight. And we're like, special? Like, what are you talking about, special? Like, whatever, all right. And everyone's like, oh, it's our conditioning test. And, like, all the seniors are like, I hope you guys are ready.
It's gonna be hell.
Yeah. So I'm still getting my physical, and there's a group of us, and they're taking forever. So there's a group of us, and one of them texted and said, like, hey, names all of us, and said, we're not going to be able to make the running test on time, but we'll try to show up once we're done with these physicals. Coach said, that's fine, I understand. Just try to get here as soon as you can. So luckily I was able to get out, and I, like, ran over to our pack. It was just the Packard Athletic Center, our locker room. Threw on my cleats real quick, and I hear them running or whatever, and I run out there. Luckily I only missed 2 reps of it, but so what we did was 16 110-yard sprints. God damn. So, and it was a sprint. It wasn't a jog. It was a sprint, because every position group had different times. So I think lineman, it was 21 seconds or 20 seconds, I think, more.
Which is still a dead-ass sprint for a big boy like me and you.
Oh, yeah. And I think running backs, linebackers, and tight ends, maybe not running backs, but linebackers, tight ends, and, maybe quarterbacks or something, they had like 18 seconds. And then skilled, running backs, wide receivers, DBs, safeties.
Corners.
They had, corners. They all had to be 16 or lower. So, and that's moving.
That's fucking floating,
110 yards at 16 seconds. And you got to do 16 of them on top of it. So, and they were on your ass, too. They counted it. And they had, every single coach had a stopwatch. And they are in charge of watching their so they literally had O-line, D-line first. Then it would be linebackers, whatever. It would be by position group. So every single coach is watching you run these sprints, and they're timing them. And if you miss one, then mark your name down once.
And it's the entire team, guys. Like, trust
team.
me, he told me about this, and I made him elaborate for like almost 30 minutes just on that one time, because I was like, wait, if you fuck up, he goes, no. If anyone on O or D line fucks it up, on the team,
Yeah.
you restart.
So,
oh my god,
when I
that's
showed up,
terrible.
they did 2 of them, and our coach was like, "Oh, if you're here, jump back in." And so I ended up actually doing the full 16 110s because
of the fuck ups.
Because of the fuck ups, they did 2 extra at the very end. So I missed 2, but I ended up doing all 16. The guys that were there the whole time did 18.
Dude, you gotta dig deep. I mean,
Oh.
think about, dude, you have to dig so deep. If you've already fucked up, credit to those guys that didn't make time and then managed to do it after. And that's hard. That's really hard to do.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I walked down, I was looking around. We had this one freshman. I mean, the trainer's holding his arms. He's looking. He's lost. I mean, he is just gone. And I'm like, what is he? I was like,
my man's
oh
gas.
shit! What am I walking? It looked like a war zone. It literally looked like a clip out of a movie. There's bodies just everywhere, just scattered. People are throwing up. Some dude's getting heat stroke over in the corner. They're pouring ice water on him. I mean. And I was like, holy shit,
so
what
this
the
is
hell?
college football.
Yeah, and I'm like...
And that wasn't even the start.
That was just the first day. We didn't even have a practice yet. That was literally the first workout we did as a team was those 110s.
Savage shit.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But we're, guys, just so that you're aware, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, we're going to cut off and make the rest of this interview exclusive to audio only. And that's not for any hip or trendy bullshit. That's just because my camera's about to die. So, guys... before we end the video version of this podcast, I do want to just once again represent and shout out our proud sponsor, Life Widgets. Also, speaking of the business aspect of BW, founder of this company, also a graduate alumni from BW in the business side of things. Life Widgets has so much to offer, guys. If you aren't aware, you guys can download the app on Android and Apple app stores, add me as a friend, and you immediately enter yourself into a 3 cash prize drawing that will be done at the end of season 3. So episode 10 of this season, we'll do the cash giveaway. You don't have to be watching it, anything like that. Once we do the drawing, I'll reach out to you and see how you want to receive your payment, guys. It's super easy. Sign up, add me, tell your friends about it. Who doesn't want free money? And that's what it is, free fucking money, you know? Life Widgets has so much to offer, guys. If you guys worry about people selling your personal information or third parties kind of getting in the way, you don't have to worry about it there. Life Widgets literally takes the consumer and puts you in direct contact with whatever it is that you really need, from bars to restaurants to cars and banks. You can get it all on Life Widgets, guys. Not to mention, for you singles in the area, we do have Life Widgets Flirts, a geo-based platform that connects you with other singles who share common interests with you. If you guys decide you guys are the perfect match, you can start chatting immediately. Guys, sign up. I'll see you there. Super excited. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll finish the rest on audio.